Hello, folks. I'm Stark, and I'm here to discuss a bit uh, what I'm expecting from the changes of the new patch. So I'm just accessing here AoE Zone. Just need someone to sum up what are the changes here that we are gonna have. I have read the changes on this weekend. I have had some initial thoughts about them, and I want to discuss which are these changes and what I expect to happen from those. So let's discuss it. At first, the general changes. We have the Eagle Scouts, Eagle Warriors, the full Eagle line uh, having their cost increase from 20 to 25 food. Their gold cost is keeping the same. What the fuck? No. So what I'm expecting to happen here. Eagles overall are very OP, so massives, especially Aztecs, due their fast creation time. Mayans, because of their eco, can just overpower most civilizations by just spamming lots of eagles. And the biggest issue here is that countering eagles is difficult because they are so cheap. They resist a lot to ranged units, and they can trade evenly with cavalry. So if you try to go for cavalry, siege, some infantry, they cost so few foods that they can still overpower or just outboom you. So they can either outnumber you, or the player who's using eagles can just add a few units. Like, oh, I'm playing versus a guy who's playing. I'm just gonna start spamming eagles with like 3 or 4 barracks. Am I going to fight a guy who's playing crossbows? Okay, let me add a siege workshop and start spamming mangonels, and he will push you to oblivion. I'm fighting a guy who's playing knights. Okay, let me just drop 1, maybe 2 monasteries, start spamming like lots of monks together, and the trades will also go in favor of the eagle guy. And same will happen if they are facing off infantry, so they can work around by having a few ranged units, perhaps some scorpions, and eventually, if the enemy tries to commit with the infantry, they can just say, okay, let me cut off the eagle span, drop new TCs, and outboom the enemy because the cost of food is so cheap. Is it going to change something? On Feudal Age, I don't think so. Hardly you are going to make more than like 10 eagles at maximum during Feudal Age. So we are talking not about less than a villager of food here in increase. But as the game goes by, these small tickets of food will try to balance this. Is this going to be effective? Alone, I don't think so. Perhaps with the new buffs to infantry, that might happen. Long Swordsman upgrade research time decreased from 45 to 40 seconds. A small decrease, but okay, that's an infantry patch, so Two-handed swordsman upgrade time decreased from 75 to 60 seconds. Okay, that's a bigger decrease in time. And champions from 100 seconds to 85 seconds. So, well, we were just gaining like 30 seconds of research upgrade by the moment you reach Imperial Age until you get champion fully upgraded. That's interesting. Pikeman upgrade research time decreases to from 45 to 35 seconds. Helps a lot as well. And this is just awesome. Pikeman cost upgrade decreased from 215 food to 160 food. So by minimizing the amount of food it requires to upgrade the pikemen, they're going to be way more used right now. And we already can see, if I'm not mistaken, the Dravidians, which have like cheaper upgrade for pikemen, and well, they are used quite a lot, especially when you have to face ridiculous units such as the rider from the Gurjaras and so on. Pikemen are extremely necessary, so that kind of helps you to use a two army composition, especially fighting the Shivanshina rider from the Gurjaras on early Castle Age. This is going to be very good. Supplies research time decreases from 35 to 20 seconds. You usually want to get supplies before you start spamming infantry, so not something you're going to do on Feudal Age. Perhaps once you realize that you need to play like with the Long Swordsman line against an Aztec or something on these lines, and of course now that the Militia line will receive a few more buffs, this is going to be interesting, so a small decrease on the upgrade time might be helpful. New technology is called Gambensons. This one is the quite popular big change here of this patch. It will just gives militia one more pierce armor. So what I'm expecting from that? Pretty much this won't affect so much the militia line during Castle Age. You are gonna still have a big mass of like crossbows, cavalry archers, or whatever, which you can still manage to out-micro the infantry line. But once you advances to Imperial Age, this will make them a lot more resistant, especially to skirmishers. So whenever you play on the Imperial Age and post-Imperial Age, particularly in 1v1 games, champions are going to be quite more useful now. They are cheaper, and for all those thieves, they are going to be more resistant. So all those thieves are going to have a better answer to elite skirmishers. So let's see, does it make sense that those thieves need this kind of buff? Well, Aztecs are an infantry civ, and they already have a skirmisher which is quite powerful. They're going to become even more OP, so I think that might be an overreaction for Aztecs. Bengalis. Bengalis, it's probably one of the civilizations that suffer more from the elite skirmisher attacks, so yeah, they can benefit from that. Bulgarians, that's interesting because Bulgarians already have the upgrade, which I've truly forgot the name, that gives you more melee armor on the two-handed swordsmen, which are freely upgraded, and now they are also gonna benefit from that, so their infantry is gonna become something else here. Burmese already have a lot of attack. Now with this, those champions are going to be insane. Byzantines lack the last armor for the champions, so they are pretty much, if I'm not mistaken, I think, no, they do have, they lack the last attack. So they're going to become even more OP. I think the Byzantines already have way cheaper trash units. Still, let's see what champions can give them. Celts, okay, that's a scary one because they move faster, and now they're going to be a bit more resistant. And Celts are already hard to deal with. Still, they are not gonna be a counter to Arbalest. They're not champ calls. It's like one extra pierce armor, not like 4. So I don't know. Dravidians, okay, they don't have much things to use. They can benefit from that. Franks, their skirmisher is very bad, so once you go to post-Imperial Age with Franks, you kind of need more options to play, and champion might be useful here, considering you lack Bracer. Japanese, their champions are already insane, this is going to be useful. Koreans lack the last attack, so they are going to benefit a bit from this one. Malay have the upgrade to reduce the cost of gold. If I'm not mistaken, it changes the cost of gold to food, so their champions are going to become very strong. Persians, I don't even know the point of giving this to Persians. They do not have two-handed swordsmen, they do not have champions. Are you going to just use this for buffing a bit more your long swordsmen, especially countering Aztecs or something? Crap. Portuguese, already OP and have a lot of things on the tech tree. I don't think that's necessary. Saracens already have a lot of options on the tech tree. Russars, Revikiv archers, Arbalest, good lead skirmishers. I don't think they need that at all. Sicilians are also receiving this one. Sicilians already have some, can resist a bit more from the encounter. Yeah, I don't know what to think about Sicilians. Slavs are infantry thieves which already have free supplies, and now they will have the gambit zones. This is going to be very strong. Spanish, already a very complete tech tree. They also have like Russar, Elite Skirmisher. I think that it's the way the sense here is more like, okay, those units they lack Bracer. This one also lacks Arbalest. So if they do not have a great counter to champion, at least let they make this champion as well. Teutons already have insane melee resistance. Now with that, their champions are going to become something else. Viking champions as well, and they are not available for Berbers. Well, the concept of the civilization is to have a lot of cavalry. They have insane cavalry discounts. Imagine spamming champions and cavaliers here. Yeah, could become so OP. Bohemians, you don't want to use those, you know. Once you have like a bunch of half nices and a few hand cannoneers and halbs, you don't even need that, so whatever. Britons, okay, Britons is scary because That's one of the civilizations that can suffer more from facing strong skirmishers since they are more archer based. But they have cavalier, they have the last armor from the cavalry, so yeah, they can survive without it, and they have great counters. Longbows are just going to laugh out at this upgrade, so whatever. Burgundians, I don't give a fuck, whatever. They're just not even gonna use that, I suppose. But considering they have the Burgundian vineyards, they can just have a way stronger post in pure age. Not sure if I agree with this up. Cumans. Have you ever seen someone playing champion line or infantry line with Cumans? I don't. Ethiopian, they only go until two-handed swordsman, if I'm not mistaken. They don't even have the champion, so lacking that, okay. Goths makes sense because else you could just allow them to become so OP on the previous ages, but I don't know. Goths lack the last armor, you know. So if they already have -2 armor, why not giving them at least one more? I think that they should receive that. Gurjaras, whatever, no one's gonna use these as Gurjaras. They just have the fucking Chakran there, so OP. Hindustanis, don't know what you think about. Just way better option. Rusars, Pure Age Camo, the Hand Cannoneer. I don't think they even are gonna use that. So Huns, I don't know. They also like champions. Two-handed swordsmen are very situational. Incas makes sense to receive. Oh no, wait, Incas does not receive that? Incas are... they do not have a lot of options here. Actually they do, but they are very gold dependent. I don't know. Yeah, I still don't know what to conclude. But Poles not receiving this makes sense to me. It also seems that they didn't want to give this bonus to very strong archer civilizations, not to allow those archer civs to play a very strong arbalest and champion combo. So I can just see like Vietnamese, Chinese, Italians, those civilizations who already have very strong arbalests, receiving this upgrade could make them very OP. And then again, why does Portuguese have them? Makes no sense. Byzantines do lack them? I don't know. I don't know which one's the criteria for awarding that, so yeah, this seems a bit off. Elite Step Lancer Pierce Armor increased from 1 to 2. It's the Elite, not the regular one. Well, the Elite Step Lancer, being a bit more resistance to arrows, can be interesting. Can be interesting. Oh shit, man. Okay, the door. Rev Scorpions. Rev Scorpion upgrade cost decrease from 1,000 food and 1,100 wood to 800 food and 900 wood. That's a big discount. You are just receiving like a 400 discount on the Rev Scorpion. Does it make sense? Yes, it does, because you are just buffing the infantry, so you kind of need to give their counters something. And Rev Scorpion often... why people don't make the Rev Scorpion is that because they're so expensive to upgrade. A few Rev Scorpions can do wonders. I think that players might start to understanding that, oh, perhaps adding like 7 to 8 Rev Scorpions on my comp on post-Imperial Age games might make a huge difference, especially now when facing big masses of infantry. Sappers upgrade cost changed to from 400 food and 200 gold to 400 food and 200 wood. Okay, so I'm Pure Age Technologies, and you are just replacing the gold cost for wood cost. And it adds 3 bonus damage to the villagers versus rams. That's interesting. When enemies start killing all of your town with a lot of, I don't know, siege elephants and rams, upgrading sappers and having your villagers to help versus those siege might be interesting. I like these use because no one was upgrade sappers just to give the villagers extra attack versus buildings. That was so not used at all, just for meme strategies or for hero to beat casual with heals, whatever. General Elite Elephant Archer train time decreased. Okay, so now Elite Archer Elephant have their training time reduced. Do they need that? I don't think so. and their cost is changing from food and gold to wood and gold. This is interesting because you could just make a huge food and gold eco and start spamming lots of those guys. And now you actually have to get a big mass of wood before upgrading those. I don't know what to think about that. Perhaps they are already way too strong, especially the Bengali ones for closed maps. Not sure. Siege Elephants cost increased a bit. Considering you just upgrade, have one upgrade for them, having them on a midterm from the capped run to the siege run is somewhat okay, but yeah, they were very cheap. I agree. General Cannon Galleon adjustments. The cannon galleon damage has increased from 35 to 50 and the elite from 45 to 60. Does it make sense? I think it does. The projectiles fire very slowly, so I have seen, for example, in some tournaments, players that have to siege enemy castles from the water, and even castles without masonry upgrades and hoardings upgrades, just basic castles with like 4800 HP, players could just keep repairing them in like forever, and the cannons felt like they were just punching, I don't know, cotton balls on the fucking castles, you know. So a player which controlled, for example, the center of a northern island could just keep repairing his castle forever, and unless his enemy had a huge amount of cannon galleons and he had no stone to repair, he could just keep repairing in like forever. So yeah, I agree that even they fire faster or they give more damage, which makes sense. And they also now give bonus damage versus infantry, archer, cavalry, Mamluks. What? Oh no, their bonus damage has decreased to 0. Did they have bonus? What? Who the fuck uses that? And their bonus damage versus siege has decreased. Ah, okay, small balance. Their blast radius also have increased from 0 to 0.25. Well, it makes sense, right? It's a freaking cannonball. It makes sense for it to increase a bit. Where else do we have here? Let's see. Aztecs receive gamma zones. Okay. Now we are entering in the civilization-specific stuff. I don't know what to think about this one, guys. I honestly don't know. I think that we might be overreacting here. Aztecs already have the Aztlan skirmishers, and now their champions, which are already benefit from Garland Wars, will have this extra pierce armor, but they also lack cavalry, so they kind of need something. So yeah, perhaps if you want to make these to the Mesocivs, make to all of them. Mix that to Incas as well. So Aztecs are already the top Mesociv, especially for when you consider that they have the siege onagers, they're strong monks, so I don't know why not giving to Incas. So I'm okay with this as long as you give to Incas. Bengalis, new bonus. Melee cavalry plus 2 bonus damage versus skirmishers. Not that you have a lot of options, like you have like what? Light cavalry, battle elephant, too expensive for 1v1. Light cav, most likely what you are going to use. Bengalis tends to suffer a lot, like you are just giving your best, playing with like elite archer elephant or spamming like lots of ratas, and your enemy is just like, I'm just gonna spend skirmishers and screw this guy. So yeah, Bengalis are often very countered by skirmishers, like heavily countered by skirmishers. Whenever I face Bengalis, I like to play elite skirmishers. They do need something. I think that if you just give like +4 bonus damage, that would be still fine. And Mahayana effects also applies to monks. What the fuck's my Mahayana? It's most likely the bonus of the 10 population cost there. Yeah, even if you spend like a lot of monks just giving a few population, whatever. They also receive supplies in Gambit Zone, so now their champions are another option for Bengalis to use. Well, they do need some answers to fight elite skirmishers, and they have this, and they also have that, so they are getting some buff. Berbers. Villagers move speed bonus adjusted from to 5% in Dark Age and 10% in Feudal. Well, I believe that this might reduce those scrap strategies where players will just try to win the game by forcing up like view fights. So that's so freaking stupid. That shouldn't even exist. Makes sense. Bohemians. UCIT reforms had their cost reduced. If I'm not mistaken, that one is the one that makes your gunpowder units like hand cannoneers and the cannons, the half knights, to move faster. So yeah, okay. Britons. Team bonus decreased from 20 to 10%. Well, everyone just picks Britons when they are playing a 4v4 because of that, you know. It's very OP. It's like a must for you to have a Briton in a 4v4 Arabia if you can pick the cities. It's not banned or something, so makes sense. 10% still good. Bulgarians receive Gambit Zones, okay, we have discussed that already. Burgundians. Flemish militia cost decreased from 60 food and 25 gold to 50 food and 15 gold. I think that when you combine that to the fact that Burgundians might already have a good map control on the previous ages if they play the game correctly, and Burgundian vineyards, the Flemish militia can be a unit that after a Flemish revolution you can just keep making a lot of them, since they will have their gold cost decreased. So you can just keep like selling the accident food, using Burgundian vineyards and your stocks of gold to keep making them. So they're just not going to be a one-time unit, but you can still keep remaking this unit. Flemish militia production after researching Bramley Flemish Revolution moved from town center to barracks. Okay, so you cannot keep making Flemish militia from the town centers, but you are also gonna need barracks if you want to keep spamming that. They are infantry. Seems fair. Oh, that's good. As a nerf to the Burgundian Flemish Revolution, so the Flemish militia health has decreased from 75 to 60. That's good. Their damage has decreased from 12 to 11. That's okay. I think this decrease specifically is very good. I think that's very necessary. What else? Let me think. Flemish militia damage decreased. Flemish militia pierce armor decreased from 1 to 0. Okay, that's also good because they were an infantry, and even if you had like a big amount of arbalest, you would still wouldn't be able to kill them before they just kill everything. So Flemish Revolution is OP, decreasing their health and now decreasing their armor also makes it less powerful. That's important. The cost of Flemish Revolution has changed from the standard 1,200 food and 650 gold to 200 food and 10 food per view converted and 150 gold. What the fuck? Okay, let's make a small chart on that one. We might need this one. We might need a small chart. No. Let's see. Okay, so what does it mean? What does this shit mean, man? I'm trying to figure out that. Okay, so they previously had a standard cost. And now you are going to have to play a standard food and gold cost. You are just going to play like 200 food and 150 gold if you research Flemish Revolution, and then you have a number of views. You have the number of views. Let's say the maximum here is 200 views. You are going to have 200. Each villager will cost like 10 food for you, and each villager will also cost 5 gold. So the maximum cost, the total cost here will be this one. If you have a Flemish Revolution made with the maximum capacity of 200 views, considering that scenario, you are just gonna have to spend this amount of resources, like we're talking about 3,350 resources. And the base cost previously was like 1,200 food and 650 gold. That's the equivalent of researching Flemish Revolution with 100 views. So the previous cost will be the equivalent of researching this technology to 100 views. If you have more than that, it will be more expensive. If you have less than that, it will be cheaper. But of course, you just want to make the Flemish Revolution once you have like way more views. Like I wouldn't recommend making that before you have like at least 150 views. So that can be considered a nerf to the Burgundian Flemish Revolution, together with this nerf on the stats. But the after revolution might be a bit better. That's it. Burmese will receive Gambensons, we talked about that one. Byzantines. Greek fire now additionally provides 5 splash damage to bomber towers. That's good. Very situational, but still, they are defensive civ, and now your bomber towers will have splash damage. I want to try that out. That might be insanely broken, honestly. Splash damage, man, to a bomber tower, which is already OP. Yeah, this is gonna be scarier. The Celts. Stronghold effect increases from 25 to 33% attack speed to towers and castles. I have used this very few times, a very situational upgrade. Strongholds now additionally reuse allied infantry near castles by 30 HP per minute. That's not a lot, but you know, having that might be interesting, especially for single players, but I don't think this is going to be much of a change. I think that this can be used to make some meme strategies to play campaign, but not a big change. They're just trying to make Stronghold technology less of a joke. Gambensons, okay, they got it. A big change on the Chinese here. Instead of starting with more than three more views and minus 200 food, they now start with 2 more views and minus 150 food. This is interesting. This might be like a small nerf, but since the Chinese are already starting with 50 food, this might even help new players to get along with the Chinese start, and it's not like it's going to be a huge buff. This is going to be okay. This is going to be just fine. Dravidians new bonus. Siege units cost minus 33% wood. Okay, that's interesting. Considering how Dravidians already have cheaper pikemen, I can already see the civilization playing a lot more with like pike and siege. They also receive Gambensons, so yeah, you are just going to use a lot more pike and siege with Dravidians. That's what's going to happen. Ethiopians, the team bonus effect changed from towers and outposts gaining plus 3 line of sight to outposts gaining plus 3 line of sight, and the stone cost removed. I like this one. I remember just saying, oh man, I'm not going to make the outpost because I want to use the market up. The market up is probably one of the strongest things you can do as the Ethiopians, because you want to reach the early castle age timing to go for the crossbows, and for having that remove it makes a lot of sense. And honestly, the tower, you do not make a lot to watch towers. I like this one. So if you have Ethiopians, just start spamming the outposts because they're just going to be insane. Make town watch, start spamming outposts, you are never going to be surprised once again. That's going to be a very interesting civilization to play. Royal Hair's effect has changed from Chorels trained 100% faster, they were already trained a lot faster, to Chorels and Camels, okay, receiving minus 3 damage from cavalry. I think that the biggest issue with the Chorels is how low HP they have, but they are like a glass cannon, a lot of attack and few damage. And honestly, this might be very interesting, huh? Receiving less damage from cavalry. Well, if you had the Chorels, it would be so easily for you to just add a few halberdiers with them, but their camels, their Rev camels, were just useless. Let's see how this will play off. Perhaps this might be trying to compensate how much damage they receive. from how much, I don't know, damage their camels receive, especially. I need to try this out. This is one seems a bit tricky. I haven't figured out all the implications of that one. Just a complete rework of the technology. And the elite shuttle time has decreased from 8 to 4 seconds. Like, man, what the fuck? You're just removing the royal hairs because every elite shuttle will already be a royal hair, man. For like fucking 4 seconds, man. This is such a spammable unit with like 2 castles. You can just keep spamming those forever. This is going to become so OP. Franks receive gambesons, whatever. Gots, new bonus. Hunts last 25% longer. Oh, that's beautiful. That's truly beautiful because if the gods can already grab more food, and they truly need to have an accident of food if they want to play like man at arms and skirmishers or something like that. Giving this bonus to god makes their early game a bit more stronger. You can just play with militias, use this extra hunt to get a smoother transition to feudal age, play like men at arms and skirmisher. Yeah, I think that god are just reinforcing their identity as a civ. That might be interesting. Gurjaras. Cost increased from 200 food and 400 gold to 500 food and 450 gold. If I'm not mistaken, that's the upgrade that gives your army, that forces your army to cost less food. And since Gurjars are already very strong, this makes sense. But since you were just increasing a bit the gold and like 300 in the food cost, you are just increasing the payback of this technology. So still very useful one, but the payback has increased a bit. Okay, a small nerf to the Shivanshina cost. They should honestly have a heal work, not a nerf. I think that this unit is still too stupid and receives and needs a rework, not a nerf, but everything is welcome since the situation is catastrophic here. Shivanshina Rider reload time has increased from 175 to 2. Okay, they are trying to give like 2 nerfs to the Shrivansha Rider or whatever, but this unit is just broken. It will keep being broken. Perhaps when you align the pikeman cost decrease and those 2 nerfs, they are going to try to fit some place here, but the fact that they can just shield a conquistador shot with a fucking shield, that's just doesn't make sense to me. Atheism cost decreased. Who the fuck uses that? And of course, also placed the gold cost for wood one. Incas. Undead Sling now additionally gives slingers +1 damage. Not sure what to think about. Perhaps slingers will they want Incas to have way more identity, and since this patch is buffing a lot of champion civs, slingers, which are a natural counter to the champs, might shine a bit more. Every time you buff a unit, their counters are indirectly going to appear a lot more on the games. And they have a new bonus. Their military units are going to receive a progressive discount in food. Okay, let's see how this will work with the eagle. Let's say that you are just having to make a feudal age eagle. Now the eagle is expensive, like it costs like 25 food. So 25 food, but if you make this on feudal age, we are just saying that this eagle is going to be like 80% of its original food cost. Ta-da! The feudal age eagle changes nothing. About the castle age one, one cheaper, one less food than the previous eagle. So Incas are not affected by the eagle cost increase thanks to this new bonus. That's interesting. And regarding the militia line, let's say that a militia costs or a man at arm costs 60 food, and you are just gonna give this 15% discount. This means that each militia will just cost 51 food. So a small 9 food discount for each militia that you are going to make on the early game. Okay, Makes sense, but I think that biggest thing that you are gonna get from that is that the Kamayuks are going to become stronger. Slingers also cost food and can benefit a bit from that. Okay, but they also lose their access to supplies. Why? Perhaps not to have a very OP bonus from the food discount together with supplies. That makes sense. Okay, but they are just increasing the cost of Kamayuk, so whatever. Slinger cost is also increasing, so whatever. So pretty much they just made this bonus to outdo the nerf on the Eagles. Pfft, what a stupid rework. Japanese now have access to hoardings. Hoarding, guys, is the upgrade from the castles that gives like 1,000 extra HP. That makes sense. And now Cataparut cost has reduced it. Oh, that's insanely good. Cataparut is one of the most elite upgrades that you can give to Japanese, and having this together with Hoardings access would just make Japanese way stronger in trap war, and their castles are going to endure more. It's cheaper to achieve the Cataparuto. I would honestly reduce even the Cataparuto training time, researching time. Gambensons together, that's strong. Let's take a look on Khmer. Ballista Elephant armor has changed to -2 to 0. Okay, so Ballista Elephants are getting a buff. And Cavalry armor from -2 to 0. And Siege armor from -2 to 0. Okay. And they are gaining the Russet Wagon armor. I need to train that, but honestly, they're buffing the Ballista Elephant. Khmer and their Scorpions are going to be a lot more popular on this meta versus all those new champions appearing in the games. Oh my goodness. The range of the Elite Turtle Ship has increased. I don't remember seeing a Elite Turtle Ship anymore, so reasonable. Gambensons, whatever. Lithuanians lost 150 food here. Now instead of having that's interesting. Instead of already starting with 150 extra food, they're just gonna receive extra 100 food, and each town center will actually gives them extra 100 food. Lithuanians were becoming quite popular, especially for their uptime and everything you could do together with this bonus. That's a small nerf, makes sense. Malay, they are going to receive infantry armor upgrades for free. Okay. That together with Gambensons and together with the whatever the upgrade's called that reduces the food cost, that just gives Malay a lot of reasons to, hey man, just go there and start doing a lot of infantry. Malay has already updated themselves to infantry sieve once again. Malians. The Gibero has had their health increased from 35 to 40. Well, they're going to be a natural counter to the champions. That's interesting. And the 30% longer lasting gold has changed to villagers drop off 15% more gold. What the fuck is this bonus? Does it mean that instead of a villager carrying like 10, they're going to carry like 11.5 gold? Like a small wheelbarrow? Or they're just gonna generate extra resources? I'm honestly tempted to understand this, but Malians, now with this new patch and the 30% longer lasting gold, will become so OP. Tigui extra arrows have increased. Tigui honestly has a good concept, but is a joke. You cannot stop a raid from actually happening. I agree that Tigui should have a small buff. Persians receive Gambesons, that's a joke. Villagers regeneration now starts on Field of Age. Honestly, that shouldn't even exist, man. That's so fucking stupid, you know. The regeneration on Dark Age has just led to some incredibly toxic strategies which are just stupid. I think that this should never even be on the original design. A villager that regenerates itself to the point that a view fight become useful. Every time anyone changes something in the villager, Inca villager also being benefited benefited by infantry armor. It's stupid. Another stupid shit was like the Berbers, which were now nerfed, now the Poles. So I think that I hope they just understand that, man, don't fuck with the views. Just let the villagers be views. Organ guns damage has changed from 16 to 7. Okay, I like that. But the secondary damage changed from 2 flat to same as the main projectile. Is this a nerf? But their accuracy has changed from 15 to 0. This is not a nerf, that's a redesign. Is this a nerf or is this a buff? I think that we need to play to understand that. Their dispersion was also 0.75 to 0.5. My goodness, we need a whole video to talk about that. And they now also gain bonus versus both infantry and buildings. Okay, that's toxic. But let's talk about this one later. But honestly, organ guns were just OP together with the other bonus. If a Portuguese player just went to arena, drop it to castle and start spamming organ guns, what could you do versus him? Nothing. So they truly needed a rework. Is this going to be what we needed? I don't know. I think we need to figure that out. Caravel has had a small adjust, which makes like no sense at all. Just switching 50 food, 50 gold, just to say, hey, we know Caravel exists. Useless one. Gambesons for Portuguese, I don't think they should have it, especially considering that they already have like a lot of options on the Imperial Age. They also have the strong arbalists, cheaper knights. They don't need that one. Zealotry has become cheaper. Okay, that's interesting. Camels are even now more buffed. Sicilians. Oh, we got to the. Oh my goodness, this is so long. Sicilians. Castles and town centers were both built 100% faster. Now castles are going to be built only 50% faster. Having a Sicilian dropping a castle into you was so annoying because you knew that you would never match their time here. You couldn't even block it, to be honest. A doubt castle was nearly impossible for a Sicilian. Now that might happen. Donjon is now also affected by hoardings. Well, they are a mini castle, aren't they? That's okay. They can also train spearmen. Interesting. And they now function as a prerequisite for archer range and stable, which means that donjon is pretty much also acting as a barracks. So if you drop a donjon, you do not need a barracks. Pretty useless. Actually, imagine an arena, you drop a donjon on your opponent, and after dropping the first donjon, you can already start dropping spearmans, or you can already drop an archer range. That can lead to interesting buildings, to be honest. First Crusade reduced from 7 to 5 surgeons. Okay, so first time we've had this technology released, you have like 50 units on the field. Now you only have 25. Consecutive nerfs to a stupid technology. First Crusade cost has adjusted from 300 food and 1600 gold to 400 food and 300 gold. Okay, that's tricky because at the same time that you are reducing the number of surgeons, First Crusade cost just received a lot of help. Their food cost did increase, and food is indeed difficult to collect, but having this amount of gold discount, a total of 200 discount, I don't think that this is necessarily a nerf. And if you take a look here, the Sergeant HP is increasing on Field of Age, is also increasing on Castle Age. I don't think that's a nerf, to be honest. That's more like a rework, a balance. I don't know how does it feels. And Surgeon, the upgrade for Elite Surgeon also has decreased. Okay, honestly, that's not these ones. All the First Crusade plus Surgeon combo changes on Sicilian. In my opinion, that's not a nerf. That's a buff. I can see this to be way more useful than it was previously, because it's easier to perform this strategy now. But the surgeons can build and repair 25% slower. Okay. They receive gambit stones, okay. And they have 100 extra starting stone after completing the first town center. I don't know how can this change unless you were starting on feudal age already, and you could already start by dropping a dungeon. On the regular game, I don't think this is gonna change a lot. Boyer has some small rework, increase the food, decrease the gold. Yeah, they were very expensive, more than an elephant in gold cost. Druzina has become cheaper. Oh my good, my god, Druzina. So you have free supplies, free Gambensons, Druzina is cheaper. Who the fuck is gonna stop these labs now? Not to mention that Ram Scorpion has also become cheaper. Yeah, slabs are back on the menu, boys. Spanish Inquisition also gives Missionary +1 range. Fuck it, man unit. Conquistador has -1 pierce armor. Well, so instead of having a maximum of 4 pierce armor, they are going to have a maximum of 3. That's nice. They're going to gain 20 gold for each technology research. Okay, we have the Spanish cashback officially instaurated here. We had the Spanish Inquisition and now the Spanish cashback. This has some small implications like being more effective on the earth starts with men-at-arms, archers, some small build optimizations when playing arena, and during the feudal to castle age transition can also be used here. That's going to be interesting, but not a big game changer, just the Spanish cashback. Keshik, their train time has increased. Well, they did train quite fast. I honestly believe that the unit from the Burgundians, the Costier, should also receive the same treatment here. Artillery cost from the Turks has now, oh my goodness, every fucking patch those motherfuckers change this artillery, man. This was like gold and stone. Now it was wood and gold. Now the cost has changed to 600 and 650 food and gold, and now it's food and gold. So, well, that's not something that you can afford while going for a fast Imperial Age. You need to have way more excedent in terms of food and gold in order to perform. But honestly, those guys have no idea where they want to go with this upgrade. They change this every patch. Teutons with Gambensons, good. Paper money has their cost reduced. And instead of wood and gold, which was stupid, now it costs food and wood. It does make sense, man, to have an option to trading resources at a better ratio to gold. Needing gold to perform that was stupid, honestly. And now we are finally up to the Vikings. Chieftains now also provides infantry with gold generation while attacking vills, trade units, and monks. So this is an addition to infantry gain bonus versus cavalry, okay? So that's not a rework. Together with the bonus versus cavalry, your infantry will also receive gold when killing or attacking. Because that's interesting, you see? It says attacking. But does it mean that you have to kill a vill to get a 5 gold? Or just hit a villager will already give you this gold? Anyway, if you have an infantry with a sword on a villager, you are most likely going to kill it. And trade units as well. That's going to be interesting. Chieftains also reduced their cost to 600 food and 450 gold. Okay, some good buff to the Vikings together with what? Gambensons and whatever. Yeah, that's nice. Nice buff. And Berserker Gang replaces Bogsvegar. Okay, replace it with Bogsvegar. So we have no more Berserker Gang. We now have Bogsvegar, which is a 600 food and 500 gold upgrade. which gives the archer line and longbow +1 attack. Honestly, guys, this goes against every logic of which sibling gets Gambenson and which sibling doesn't get Gambenson. Viking champions now are resistant to skirmisher, resistant to resistant to skirmishers, more resistant to ranged units, together with like archers and so on. They counter cavalry, and also you have the archers. So if you have to face like a player with a better infantry, your archers are gonna pierce their new Gammas infantry because of these upgrades. So Vikings are receiving some huge buff, and the reeling of the Berserker has increased. So you lose Berserker again because it's just becoming like a feature of the original Elite Berserk. That's a huge buff to Vikings on the longer games. And longboats, okay, are receiving a small nerf versus ships and also versus buildings. Is this going to be enough for elite longboats to be less likely used on post-Imperial Age, for you to choose galleons instead? I don't think so, because if you upgrade Bogsvager together with that, elite longboats are just going to be OP, but you are going to be forced to upgrade Bogsvager before they becoming very OP. Nothing else. I think that the biggest losers of this patch are the infantry units. Jaguars, Samurais, Wold Raiders, not Berserkers, but every infantry unit should benefit from Gambenson. I think that Gambenson should just gives like not only the militia line, but all infantry +1 pierce armor, because a player will just say, man, perhaps instead of using my unique unit, I should just use the champion. It's cheaper already because of supplies. And I also received the 1 extra pierce armor, so this is making it more difficult for you to choose between going for the unique unit instead of the champion line. Perhaps some of those bonus, especially Gambeson, should also apply to the unique units. That's a lot of changes. I believe that I might start making like small videos on how to exploit each one of those bonus units, and of course, when we start to using those and having some showcases, that's going to become way more interesting than just talking and discussing. Hope you have enjoyed this review. That was it.